Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eberron Into the Woods. Goddamn, episode 9. How are you not done here yet? How are we?
Blame the DM. Blame the DM.
You know,
3-hour episode started again.
you know,
We didn't sidetrack a lot on this one.
really
This has been
though?
actually pretty
that much.
straight line.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty straight line.
We tried to leave
tried to
this
leave
plot,
and you blew us
wouldn't
up.
let us.
Yeah, you blew us up.
Well, you still could have left, but then Kieran was
No,
like,
we couldn't.
Kieran was like,
No.
triggered. Now I need to
What?
murder everybody. Like you
No,
blew up
I got
my boat.
the
Now
funds.
everybody has to die.
I got the funds to fix our ship. It was gonna take time.
Yeah, when the ship's getting fixed, we're just gonna commit some murders. It's fine.
And was it
And
one of
then
those
Ed
like?
was like, "Are you sure you don't want to go back out the other city? You sure you don't want to go back over there? Because we were gonna go."
You could try and blame us, but it's
Yeah,
all on-
bullshit.
Well, you can't blame me for
Just
N's
DM.
actions. I'm not N. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Who gives a
come
fuck
on.
about N?
What? Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know. All right. So, anyways, yeah. So I actually was playing on Wednesday night the game with Ollie. You were there with Mathis and Maggie and Dave, and my recordings got screwed because I'm accustomed to DMing and recording and streaming everything at the same time, but PCing while doing that totally had some sort of hotkey setup that I didn't notice and broke every recording partway through. So I had to download the VODs from Twitch, and now I'm trying to fix it that way. And I was hoping to have them up tomorrow. It's going to take me a few days to figure it out. So if you're looking for that one, it's a little behind, but that's all right. All right, guys, are we ready to get into Eberron's game?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna talk about
let's
that
do it.
game.
Wow. You would actually enjoy that game. It was 50s
probably
noir. It was 50s noir. Though not at all. I mean, Ollie, did that go at all how you were expecting?
3 out of 4 characters were based on social interactions, and we are in a pocket episode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It was pretty interesting. Whatever. It doesn't matter. That's for a different time. Let's continue. So last time we played, you were, or last 2 times, whatever, kind of meshed together. You were trying to find your way over to where the Thorian was, trying to discover. You discovered what it was, what it's capable of, at least to some degree, and you decided you want to kill it. So now you're a matter of trying to discover where it is. Apparently, it's hidden inside some cave somewhere where a Sybaris shard has fallen from the sky. Sybaris shards exist, circling the planet. So on your way in trying to find this, you had reached out and had communications with your lizard folk friends. That seems to be a powerful necromancer, and blah 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 blah. Right. The goal is to find your way there, and you've been doing so for a pretty long while. I believe where we exactly left off last time was, Will, you were just casting your spell, correct?
I just started feeling something after I casted it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. So you had found your way back to the place where you had fought hordes of the little creeper creatures were coming at you. So they were coming at you, and you had just barely gotten away many sessions prior. You were back in the site where that had transpired. You had cast a spell, and you were like, I feel the presence of this Sybaris shard, this unique Sybaris shard. I feel the presence of it, and I know the direction I need to go. And so you can feel it. It's about northwest of where you are, but you can actually feel that it's within that 1,000 feet of where you stand now, but a fifth of a mile. The way that the spell works is it tells you about how far, and this is in the very, very rim of your spell, which is why you're just barely starting to feel the presence of it being there, and you know the direction you need to go to have that to get to it, but not necessarily exactly where it is. So,
Right.
What do you say, Bellum, when you come to this discovery?
So I turn and look at the group, and I say, I'm pretty sure I know where the shard is. At least the general area.
Great.
I say, but if this creature is where the shard is, I can only imagine the drones of these things thicker and thicker. we should probably try to move stealthily from here on out. And I look at Kieran directly.
All of us turn to Kieran.
Why are you looking at me directly?
I've heard stories. I saw the building.
You've heard Kieran.
Yeah, you've
I'd
met
like
Kieran.
to not point out,
That's
it's
fine.
not actually Aaron who described it, but it was Scott playing as N becoming Kieran who described like the way she walked, with just like a stomp, and it's like, no, you're right. There's no way she walks quietly.
That's fine. As soon as we get close enough to do this, I'm gonna fly up into the air and drop the gems on top of the thing.
So,
Can I have
Scott,
Salbar?
Yes.
are these creatures that we've been finding humanoids?
The creepers?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They are definitely humanoid.
Are they actually
Okay.
humanoid rules-wise?
You mean like are they type humanoid?
Type.
No.
That's.
I cast Charm
I
Person.
think
Does
that's
it
what
work?
he was asking.
Oh, you're asking what type they are? No,
Yeah.
no. You came to that
Creeper.
conclusion. My apologies. You came to that conclusion a long while ago. They're
Yeah,
plants.
I think. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I can't make my.
I thought you
track
meant
their
humanoid,
track.
the conventional description of it.
No.
Because we had
I
discovered
know what
type
you
a
meant.
long
I
time
know what
ago.
you're
Thank you,
about.
Ollie. I don't
I'm
know
not
who
your
wouldn't
brother or
consider
anything.
what used to be human a humanoid. Looking.
Well, they weren't all humans. Some of them are lizard
Oh.
folk.
So you mean more?
Yeah, don't be
humanoids?
racist.
So you mean more humanoids?
Lizard folk are humanoids. That's true.
Yes. Okay.
But you know,
so-
I imagine like the orcs call them orcoids and the
Orcoids.
corvoids. You know,
All
every
sorts.
race
You know, the lizardoids.
lizardoids.
So
Like us.
I'll look and say we are pretty close. It's not too far. So perhaps
Within 10 minutes, let's say.
if we were walking briskly within 10 to 20 minutes, but
Alright, well, I need it to
I
be
want
10
to walk
minutes.
slowly.
That's what I'm gonna start
And
doing.
then I'm gonna cast Pass Without Trace on all of us. And I'll say, stay close to me and stay quiet.
So, yeah, I would have gotten the gems from Stalbor if he'd be willing to give them to me because I think he had them
I have a feeling you had them.
with
I
a little
didn't pick one.
box.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's
but yeah, you can have them. I think I
Cool.
do. I don't remember anything.
Cool.
good. I take those.
Awesome. And the plan is with Pass Without Trace to try to sneak your way closer and closer to where the this place is. Now, is there anything else you're trying to do for preparations as you're making your way there?
Me personally, I don't think so. Just being stealthy. I'm gonna have I probably wouldn't even have my bow out yet or anything. I'm probably just trying to be as stealthy as possible
Okay.
in searching for where this, like, as we move closer in the direction, after maybe like 10 minutes or so, I would start to like looking for signs of exactly where it is and
Mhm.
start trying to see if maybe there's foot tracks where these creepers are going to or coming from, or if I can notice any like unsettling areas.
Well, the
I'm
fun
gonna
part
make a
is
third level spell slot.
William is sacrificing his locate object to cast his Pass Without Trace. So he knows the general direction of where it was at the point when he had initially cast the spell locate object.
Yeah,
But
about
that,
how far.
so he's like, I need about that far,
That's fine.
that
it's lodged in
direction,
the ground. So
Yeah.
and then so it's kind of like counting paces from there and doing the best he can to try to figure it out once he gets closer. So, Eric, is Reich doing anything? Carrie, excuse me, you were just speaking.
Yeah, I'm gonna make at least one third level spell slot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have anything I can do as preparation. I have my
we
hand
just
on my
slept, so
sword.
you should have all your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but I don't really have like anything I could. I'm
Yeah.
not a caster, so I just very
Right.
I very menacingly look into the beyond. I swear, when I see that dude, I'm gonna swore them so bad. But yeah,
Okay.
I don't have anything to do in preparation.
All right, so all of you are going to start making your way towards the direction of where it is that Billum believes that this creature is, this Thorian is. Now, before we start making your rolls to do so, I was describing before how they are becoming more and more frequent about this area. As you guys start heading out of this area where you have tons of the corpses about, where you have like relative safety, it seems, in this one spot, but they seem to avoid this one spot. As you are heading out of here, you can see that their numbers are ridiculous. They clearly have woken up in, and I believe somebody used this word earlier, droves. I mean, they are plotting throughout the woods. You cannot spend a moment where they're not always. The question is not how many are around you, but how close are they to you as you're making your way along. Luckily, they seem to be blind beyond a certain range. However, without eyes, they seem to be able to see effectively everything within that range. And they're moving so densely, so close together, that it's going to be very, very difficult to stay outside of at least one of their ranges. And I would say Bellum would understand that they might be able to see you, even if you're perfectly still and perfectly hidden. They might be able to see you despite that. So, kind of putting all that together, your plan is for you to sneak forward, and it's going to take a bit of time for you to do so. It's going to be a bunch of skill checks you guys are about to start doing, and you're probably going to fail all of them. I mean, hopefully you do well. That's what I wanted to say. Hopefully you do well. So, stealth checks and survival checks. The survival check is going to be to kind of plot the course between here and there. I believe Bellum is rolling it, and Kieran is going to assist, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll do survival first.
For the record, this is a kind of we're all gonna have to use action points or none of us are situation.
So hold on. I will use an action point.
Nice.
Okay, 21.
Okay. And everybody roll your stealth checks for me.
With a plus 10.
Boys, you just got to apply that after the fact, really.
Yeah.
I'm definitely using an action point.
We have a 17.
Same.
A 19 is better than a 17.
Alright.
I'm gonna keep my smooth.
I also have over my max of action points still.
I think going over 30 is overkill.
Okay. So what happens is Bellum decides, so the total stealth checks, just to be clear, I believe Stalwart got a 19, Eric got a 22, Aaron got a 23, and Bellum got a 30. So it's funny, I think I said the names that were written there, and since Eric's and Aaron's are their actual names, I said their actual names, but then Ollie and Will, I said their character names.
You you don't come to Delric for consistency. You just don't at this point.
It's funny because it's what Maggie always talks about. She's like, "Can you just change your name there for me?" That's
and
so
I was
funny.
like, "Yeah, you do it."
So anyways, moving on. So the what he does is he looks for a spot where he believes you're going to be able to stay out of the sight of these creatures. Unfortunately, it requires going into some muck where there's some roots growing out over the trees, and if you pass underneath those roots and stay above your head above the water, and then you come out there and you kind of stop in some spots over inside some rotted tree hovels, and you stay there and you stay low. Then everybody moves quietly and quickly as fast as they can over to another softer area where there's some muck, but it's not very deep. It has actual grass growing there as opposed to being deep inside the lake, the swampy water. You guys are making your way through this smashing, mushing kind of nastiness. Your footsteps are making mushing sounds. However, your stealth isn't necessarily a matter of not being heard by these creatures and not being seen by them from a distance. What Bellum is doing is he's actually guiding you to just staying away from the creatures, keeping a good enough distance from them that they're not able to perceive you, having come to the realization of how it is that they view in general, right? So the first couple of minutes, Bellum is successful in guiding you guys through this area. Bellum, roll me another survival check.
With advantage?
For why would you get advantage?
You said that
Because I'm
Kieran was
assisting him?
assisting?
Yeah, this one you get advantage for. Actually, hold up. Don't one of you guys have the ability to just instantly know which direction is north and whatnot?
I'm pretty sure I do as a ranger.
No, it's like a spell. I think Kieran has that
I
as
can
part of a spell.
predict the weather. I cannot predict direction.
So,
But I do have navigator's tools I'm proficient with.
Okay,
too.
cool.
I
So
think
if
it's a benefit of navigator's tools, like in one of the newer books.
yeah.
They
So
give expanded tools.
you can actually roll for me a navigator's check, and he can roll for me a survival check.
All right, so regular survival.
I like that we're stumbling through a swamp, and Kieran gets out like her fucking ship's bag, like a fucking
Just a compass, man.
Gig,
It's
and
like
Take out the sex.
navigator tools. It's not compass.
I got like a
It's
little.
tools.
So that's a
Gonna
25.
lick the,
Oh, he used the action point on that.
Yes.
So
Yes, I did.
So the concern was, I mean, you're able to continue plotting your course before I make everybody do a slew of checks again. Is keeping your bearings and making sure you're continuing through the correct direction while navigating through here. So you're making your way, traveling through the swamp further and further and further, and always able to keep your bearings. Kieran whipping out her compass, kind of like showing you where it is. You being like, yep, hold on, let's just adjust it slightly this way because of where it was. I had sensed it beforehand, sensed the presence of this the Sipper shard. And so you continue pushing on. Several more minutes of making your way through the muck. Now I'm going to have you restart like you did beforehand. Your survival check with advantage, followed by all the stealth checks. Survival check first.
Okay, just as a quick, Scott, my thing says, difficult terrain doesn't slow your group. Your group can't become lost except by magical means.
Correct.
And even when you're traveling and engaged in
differently,
other
we're
activity,
searching for
remain
something.
alert.
It's not that we're getting lost.
Nope, I know. I'm letting it for the future. I'm
We just
saying
don't
it
know where
loud.
we're going.
Right.
Yeah, so we're not lost.
So
We know exactly
on
where you are.
stealth
We
check?
don't know where we.
You're starting with your survival with advantage.
Okay.
Am I rolling anything?
In a second, you're all going to do your stealths again.
I'm gonna roll. Cause, whatever. 16.
Okay. Everybody else roll your stealth checks. The DC is kind of set by the survival check, so that's why I'm having him do that first. Wow, Kieran, you're about to get a 32.
It's a plus 10. Yeah.
Bellum's also a
Who said it
32.
wasn't stealthy?
Stalwart's 27. That's amazing. Reich, you've got a
Well, it's 'cause
17.
you don't need to be quiet. You just need to keep away from people, and you're so used to hiding behind doors, listening to people like bitch, so you can then bitch at them later. It all makes sense in my head.
Eric, are you happy with your 17?
I only have one more point.
Really?
I kind
Yes.
of.
You were gifted a shit ton, dude.
I know. I kind of blew a lot of them last session.
Oh
I
my
don't know if you
god.
Oh yeah, Reich was fighting some on his own. That's when he used all of them.
I kind of blew a few
God
like
damn.
7 last session.
there was a moment where I had to save you, and it was very important.
Yeah, it didn't go well. So I don't really. All right. No, I'm saving it. I'm saving it for the fight.
All right,
Oh,
not a
but-
problem.
Damn
So,
This might cause a fight.
Yeah, exactly. 17 still.
okay,
good,
he's fine with the 17. So, you guys are making your way along. This time, Bellum, the way that he navigates for you guys to try to do is like, honestly, I think the easiest path for us, as ridiculous as it sounds, is for us to go somewhat up into the trees. He notices a broken down tree having collapsed forward, and if you make your way up the tree itself, it'll bring you guys above the ground somewhat and allow you to kind of traverse over their heads, once again kind of widening the gap between you and them. So as you continue making your way forward, up into that tree where it collapsed onto another one, and moving along the top of this tree very slowly. You're not able to move quickly. The trees themselves are very slick. Your boots are wet anyways. Wherever you put your hands, if assuming you have an ungloved hand, you can feel the slickness of the bark, and even a gloved hand, leather or otherwise, is having a hard time getting a good grip. You're all making your way along this path and able to stay over their heads. Occasionally Bellum or somebody else might call for everybody to stop, or actually very quickly scramble to get away from where you think that they'd be able to see. And you're all working in unison to help out. Reich, however, does a misstep and actually slips for a second. Makes me an acrobatics check to see whether or not he screws it up.
Come on, Reich.
Can we make a pact like right now? No more forest. Like adventures.
No, I like
Because
forest
it-
adventures.
We don't care about you,
That's
Bella.
not bad.
Elf.
That's not bad.
I'm an elf though.
I can live with a 16.
So with your 16, you're actually not slipping off the tree. You catch yourself. It's literally you slip and fall, and you end up grabbing onto the branch as you go down with one of your arms, which is slipping, but you quickly kind of get out and dig your fingernails because even though you're very well kept, you're not unkept goblin creature. You're actually very well kept, but you do have these very strong hands, very strong nails, being a hobgoblin, and you dig them into the bark of the tree and get yourself a grip and start pulling yourself back up and onto the branch itself and save yourself. It's one of those things where there are about 9 of these creatures nearby. There's not just 9, but there's about 9 of them nearby that had they eyes, they would have easily been able to see what you just did. But fortunately, they don't. And you're able to, again, stay out of the range of where it is they can view. So, you clamber yourself back up and safely continue making your way forwards. You do so for several more minutes. You guys are at the point where they're so densely moving around, you're doubting whether or not you can make it any further, or much further if possible, continuing with your path, continue with how you're traveling there. There's just so many of them. Even staying still is just not an option because they're always moving. Sometimes you're taking, Take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. How's that song go? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know how it goes, but it definitely don't go like that.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. That's what it is. 3 steps forward. No? Okay. So you're constantly backtracking just to stay out of where it is that they notice. You're often getting split up. You're not able to stay side by side. At one point in time, poor Stalwar, who is the most comfortable in the woods probably because of his background, because he grew up in dense forests and whatnot, but is left a solid 160 feet away from everybody else. So that is a little unnerving to the group before he can kind of catch back up. But you guys are hard pressed staying within 50 feet of each other. You know what I mean? So, you can continue.
Bellum, how close are we?
What distance did we travel?
It's hard to keep track of exactly how far you're traveling when you're moving at such slow speeds and so all over the place. You're not traveling in a straight line. You're moving here and there.
Right.
Roll for me a survival check with disadvantage to see if you can discover it. It's you honestly don't know. You've traveled a good distance, maybe half, maybe less.
I'm gonna say, well, it seems as though this is the thick of it. We might have to fight to continue.
All right, good enough for me. Point in the direction. Which way is he?
I will point in the direction.
All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna take the explosives. I'm gonna drop it on the creature as soon as I find it. That'll draw all the creatures towards that area, and then clear the path for you guys. Sound good?
Sounds like a great idea.
Actually, is a good idea.
Cool. All
But
right, that's what I'm
is
gonna do.
dropping these gems, they blow up when they get dropped?
Well, that's what
No,
the
we have
forts-
to activate it, and it does take some time.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stick around too hard to find out. Hopefully, my plan is to drop them and double back as much as I can.
Okay.
Well, how long do we know how long they take to activate once they're activated? Do we know how long they take to explode?
I
Did
feel
we
like-
test this?
We do.
Stalwart
How
knows.
long for when you heard the ringing to when they exploded?
Ooh, I would say, based on the roleplay, about 2 minutes.
So why don't we ding it? How far is it gonna take you to get there?
The tuning forks in the box.
Between
let
10
Kieran
and
have it
5
all.
minutes.
Okay.
10 and 5
So
minutes.
so if she was flying over the canopy, she would have zero bearings as to where it is that she needed to go, would never be able to find where it is that she needed to go, but could get there very quickly and very safely. If she's to fly under the canopy, then she could actually spot out where it is that she's trying to go. However, is now navigating through swampland trees, which have hanging vines and whatnot that grow from them, and various other branches and so on and so forth. Like the canopy itself is lower; it's not very high up in the air. So once again, still has to stay low to the ground. Sure, she can move quickly, and she'll be very obvious, which will, as she was just suggesting, cutting a path for you, because they would just turn and start chasing after her. Is kind of like the idea of like, hey, come after me, ding, 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 ding. But how quickly can she actually move and navigate through the area? Well, if this is Pathfinder, I would say you can make a fly skill check, but fly skill doesn't exist in this game. So it's going to be acrobatics checks.
Well, I can tell you, I can move 120 feet per round.
What was that?
I can move 120 feet per round.
As a double move, exactly. As a double move, you can fly 120 feet worth of movement. Of course, it's one of those, you're not going to be able to move a whole 120 feet every round.
Right.
All right.
Because it's difficult terrain up in the air.
Yeah. Well, yes, that ish, but more, yeah, that ish.
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm being an ass, but yeah. So what do you want me to do? What do you want me to roll?
Well, before you go, I absolutely squeeze your shoulder and give you mage armor.
Ah.
Because it always is a good idea, especially when you're the bait.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I would say that I would just suggest to the group we stay perched in the tree and wait for her to come back.
Sounds good to me.
Or until we hear a boom. And a
Or
scream.
until like a path clears for you, if that happens.
Right.
Okay. So the plan is just hear and go, and then wait and see the reaction of the creatures. Oh
Yep.
God.
This is fine.
Who needs a trump card? We have Kieran. Yeah.
This is actually the only plan we could do based on the situation you put us in.
Yeah, this is the best plan.
So Kieran,
It's the best plans.
you cast
Always.
fly, and start flying. Start pushing forward as fast as you can in the direction that you believe that you need to go. Of course, you don't have very strong bearings because that same spell is not activated, but you at least have an idea, a general idea. So the first thing I need from you is a survival check to try to find out where it is that you're going.
Do I get a bonus that since I was told the direction?
They may point to the direction for you. However, it's a matter of navigation, not just I start flying in that direction.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna use an action point.
Okay.
It's not-
That's not bad. So you start flying in, of course, the direction, but are able to more or less maintain the heading despite the dodges and weaves and whatnot that you're going to have to do along the way. Okay, so now you have to make me an acrobatics check to cut your way through the, I suppose, rough terrain is the best way to describe it, of the low canopy.
Right? What's the best way to describe it? Ooh. Okay. A 13 is better than a 9.
Okay,
I'm also out of action points.
so, oof, ouch.
A
So...
lot.
You are making your way, flying through the area, flying through the brush and whatnot, not the brush, but the vines and the branches and whatnot, and the trees. It's not super easy to navigate. You're having a bit of a struggle. Flying forward, you don't want to get tangled up, so you rolled high enough. I'm not going to tangle you up in anything, but you do like, oh no, this is a bit of a dead end, or oh, this is going to be too hard to get through, and you have to navigate backwards and around and everything to continue moving forward. You don't make a ton of progress in this first bout of checks. However, you do keep your bearings, and so therefore you're heading and are going in the correct direction still. Kieran, roll for me again, and then I'm going to start describing for them.
Roll for me.
Survival first, and then acrobatics.
Okay.
I saw that 20. But 16? Ooh. Okay. And there's nothing you can do about either of those because you have your out of action points. So
25.
No. Well, the 16 I was referring to mostly.
Do I still get the plus 10 from Bellum or no? Because I'm not near him.
Bellum only
The
gave you a bonus
backstory.
to
That was
stealth,
the stealth.
and
The stealth.
no because
Oh,
you're not
gotcha.
near him. Yeah. So
Cool.
when you're flying forward, you once again kind of just keeping your heading. It's almost one of those things where I imagine Kieran actually just keeps her compass out, and every once in a while she gets frustrated, looks down, remembers where it was that she needed to go compared to where she is, and then just keeps going. Compass in one hand and crackling lightning in the other. She this time decides, fuck this. This is taking too long, and I want to get there. And so when she comes across like a wall of hanging vines and whatnot, she just decides to fly through them. Just legit, just navigate and fly through them. And she does so deftly. It's actually rather impressive how she's able to navigate through these vines, getting to the other side. She also carries a sword on her. She can even cut a bunch of them down. She's just trying to get there and doesn't care what notices her. So let's pull away from Kieran for a second and back to the rest of you and what you see.